Good morning, welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life, and this is going to be the Q&A video. You guys asked a whole lot of questions about cranberry harvest and just kind of like other cranberry and farming related questions. So I'm going to get all of those answers for you in this video. First, I wanted to say that dossier. No, I should change that. Well, normally what I would say is today's video is sponsored by Dossier Fragrances, right? And someone had mentioned to me once that they thought that I was saying it wrong. And I was actually working, like the company rep that I was working with, I had actually asked her and I said, you know, watch my videos, make sure I'm saying it right. She's like, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that company rep is no longer with the company and I'm working with a new company rep now. And she was like, Jennifer, you're saying it wrong. So here we go, Dossier Fragrances, and today I am going with floral berries because it's cranberry season. Could there be cranberry scent in here? Cranberries? I don't know, but this one has top notes of peony, red apple, and berries, and I'm really digging this sweet. It's kind of sweet. It's got a little after fragrance. It says the base notes are suede, accord, and musks. That must be what I'm kind of smelling. So anyway, I'm enjoying that one too. So we are just gonna get started here. Is that enough? Feels like enough. And I just wanna make sure that you guys check out the first link in the description box below for the Dossier Fragrances. They have all kinds of, I don't really wanna call them dupes, but they take like the top fragrances, the top selling fragrances out there. Some of these designer fragrances that are like, I mean, you guys have seen it. You've probably gone onto like a Nordstrom website or something. Some of these fragrances are so expensive, well over $100, $150. Anyway, they take those fragrances and what they do then is they make something that is similar, not exact, but has some of the same notes to it. And then they sell them at a much discounted price. So definitely check them out. They always have free shipping, free returns, and yeah, so if you don't like something, you can send it back and try something different, which is very welcome because, you know, sometimes you think, oh, I'm gonna love that scent, and then you get it and you're like, that was a little different than what I thought. So that's a great thing about the Dossier Fragrance Company. All right, we're gonna move on with the day. Before I start going down and interviewing people and, you know, getting answers and stuff, I do need to get into the kitchen. So I just wanna show you what I have started here in the kitchen for today. So last night I actually got started the recipe. This is in cookbook number 2. It's the first recipe in the soups section, and crock-pot beef vegetable soup. So let me just show that to you so you guys can see it. What I normally do is use, for the stewing beef cubes, I always use just venison stew meat. And then the soup bones, I use beef shank soup bones. So they're very, very meaty soup bones. If I wanted, I probably wouldn't even have to have the venison stew meat in here, but I think it just really, it's a really great way to use venison stew, and you kind of flavor it up with all of the like fattiness and the marrow and everything from the beef soup bones. It just makes a really good soup. I'll take the lid off here and stir it and show you guys. I did have to add the onion and the tomato this morning because one, I had to get the onion from the garden, and two, the can or the jar, it actually should have 2 jars of diced tomatoes, but I just put in 1. It looked like enough, and also I really pack mine in, so you know it's not like a store-bought can of diced tomatoes. So anyway, because I did double this recipe. So this is what it looks like. Today, instead of peas or corn, I used green beans because I'm still getting green beans from the garden. So this is actually, yeah, tomatoes from our garden, green beans from the garden, onion, carrots. The celery and the potatoes are not from our garden. The venison, right from our land. So yeah, this is, and the beef is local. We bought half a steer, and this just smells so good. What I did is I started this last night. I want to say I started cutting everything up like after supper, and probably about 7 o'clock or something like that. And then I started it on low and I let it just go all night. I pulled the beef soup bones out, took all the meat off the bones, put that back in, went down, got the onion, added in the tomatoes. I still have it on low, and I'm just gonna let this go until about a half an hour before lunch. I'll turn it to warm. Actually, I have this digital crock pot now, so I have it set. It'll just turn to warm, and this will be for lunch. So for like my family and then the harvest crew, you know, if they want to eat this. Sometimes they always bring their own lunch, and then whatever I have, I always open it up to them as well if they want some of that. So that is happening. Now I'm going to get some bread going because, yes, it is 8:30, so I want to get some bread going in the bread machine, and then we'll see if I can get some kind of bars made here today. I haven't been baking like I normally bake during harvest. It's just been so busy, it seems like. So anyway, and in about 10 minutes I have somebody coming to pick up 25 pounds of cranberries, so I also have to be on the lookout for her. I'm putting together oatmeal bread, which is in cookbook number 2 on page 41, and I'm doubling this. One recipe only calls for 2 cups of flour, and so I know that I can fit 4 cups into my bread machine, so I'm doubling this. I need a lot of bread today for lunch. Some bread.
Can I help?
This is the last ingredient. You want to put this in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a 2 teaspoon, and I need 4 total teaspoons.
Okay.
Just swoop in here. Put it right in the middle. And then what I like to do is I use my bread machine and I just set it to the dough cycle, and then when it comes out I'll shape that into 2 loaves, or we'll see how much dough. I do have one kind of longer loaf pan. Maybe I'll do that, but either, whatever, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. So Maria and I, we haven't really filmed much here, but we just made brownies. I actually had some brownie, just a brownie mix that I mixed up because I made some cookies a while ago. The cookies I thought were just a flop. You made this like chocolate, you made the dry mix, and then you're supposed to add in the ingredients, but I don't know, they were kind of a flop. So anyway, I had this huge amount of what kind of looks like a brownie mix powder, and I just used my Epic brownie recipe from the cookbook, and I added in, I used that dry mix. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but we added eggs and butter and some shortening and what else? In the mix, right?
Yeah.
That was it. So hopefully that works out. Maybe I should have put in some vanilla too. I think I normally put vanilla in my brownies. I don't know. We're just, like, I can't find different recipes. And now Maria wanted to make hot chocolate. And so this giant jar, we have a big mess going right now. This jar was a gift from a subscriber. And I was always going to make granola and fill it up, and I just hadn't gotten to it. And today I thought this is the perfect thing to put the homemade hot cocoa mix. So we made some homemade hot cocoa mix in here. Now we're just heating some milk in the microwave, and then we're going to make ourselves some hot chocolate, sit down for a little bit, and then what?
Probably do Wordle.
I actually did Wordle for today already. The word was
connections.
I did. I know. The word was truth. That was the word for today. So probably clean this up. This is probably our next project. And Maria, she's my dishes girl for the day, so she's going to go and put those dishes away before we start working on washing. All right, I have my 2 bread pans sprayed. And I'm going to put a little bit of oil on my counter here. Turn the dough out. Oh, here's a reminder that about 5 minutes into the mixing time, I like to take a wooden spoon and just slide it around the edges. I forgot to do that. So I have a couple little hunks of flour here that didn't get mixed in. It's just kind of a FYI, especially when you're doing a double batch. But it'll be just fine. Okay, we're gonna get that on the oil here. Just gonna kind of mix that in a little bit. Let's see if we can.
So this is Rebecca writing a letter to her mother.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to try for the spelling prize for the first morning. She entered the teacher, Miss Dearborn.
At this point, I'm making some frosting for these brownies. I took a little square out to see how they are, and I would say that's a little on the dry side. Remember, I was just sort of eyeballing chocolate cookie mix and trying to turn it into a brownie mix. Anyway, I feel like they're just it's a little dry. It doesn't quite have brownie consistency, a little bit more cakey. So what I thought is I would use my grandma's Texas sheet cake recipe frosting recipe, and so I have a stick of butter in here. Hers calls for margarine, but I just don't have that. So butter and 5 tablespoons of milk and 4 tablespoons of cocoa. I'm going to bring this to a boil and add in 1 pound of powdered sugar, a cup of ground nuts, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So this is basically Texas sheet pan cake. Or at least that's the frosting that my grandma used to make when she would make Texas sheet cake. I already tried a little frosting and it's very yummy. Peter just ran in. He had to use the bathroom, and so I grabbed him and I said, hey, try one of these sort of brownie, sort of cake, sort of something. And he's like, I don't think they're too dry, Mom. He's like, but I'm not sure if I'm into the flavor. I said, that's a bummer because Peter, you were the one. I'm like, oh, Peter, he likes everything. And what did you say?
Well, I'll eat them.
Even if he's not 100% keen on them. Cake is cake, right? So, how's the day going for you?
Pretty good. We lost both pins in the trash trailers.
Oh, that's bad. Did they just, did they bounce out, or did you guys forget to?
They're just gone.
Oh.
But, otherwise, everything's going smoothly. We are on our second trailer, and second bed, probably a little bit till halfway done with the second bed. Everything's doing good.
Great.
Got the bunch of other beds boomed, and yeah.
Were you booming, or what were you?
I was raking berries into the berry cleaner and managing trash trailer.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, Dad's probably waiting for you. Licorice bites. Little extra energy, huh?
You just got your fanny pack.
All right, Maria is laughing at me because I'm wearing my fanny pack, or I still call it a fanny pack. I think people call it like a cross bag or something. I don't even know what they call them now.
She's wearing her fanny pack like I wear mine.
Trying to be like all the cool girls, I guess. But this one, Gander Mountain, vintage 1995, I think. I'm pretty sure I had this right about the time I was graduating college. Still have it. It's holding up great. Anyway, I just wanted to wear it like this because sometimes I do get sick of it around my waist. So we're going to start our walk around and answering questions. Let me just pull this out. There's a couple questions I can just answer really quick right off the bat. Somebody Emily compiled this list, so she did not put down like who asked these questions. So sometimes I do that so I can just like give you guys a little shout out, but I don't have that today. Whoa, is it windy out here today? But I do have somebody who's asking how many acres of cranberries we have. We harvest 56 acres of cranberry beds. Another person asks about the fence. I'm not anywhere near the fence right now, but we do have what's called a deer fence, and that goes all the way around the 56 acres of cranberries. And yeah, it's to keep out deer. And for the most part, it does a really good job keeping out the deer. And this year, with the really low water though, we did have some deer that were swimming around. So where the fence dead ends into the water, it goes out pretty far out into the water. But this year the water was so low that the deer, we did have a couple of deer that must have swam around and got in. Okay, Maria wants me to answer question 11, 12, and 13. Let's stop for a sec.
Do you know that one? You wrote something.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I have another question here. How many pounds of cranberries would you guess that you use in a year? So this year I'm going to keep at least 300 pounds. I am down to 1 cup of cranberries left. Oh, yeah. Did you want to go catch a ride?
Is that the last one of the day?
I don't know. That's really bad. Bummer. Well, we'll still walk down here. Do you want to run and see if you can catch him to ride in with him?
I don't know. Is that the last one?
Yes. And then if not, you can catch back up with me if you want. Okay, sorry for that confusion. They just actually filled the 3rd semi for the day already here at 3:30 this afternoon. And Maria has been wanting to ride in with Warren. Okay, so this year, like I said, I'm keeping 300 pounds of cranberries, at least, maybe even more. We did already, or Warren, 100% Warren was involved in it. He did already, oh, I'm worried about this wind. It is so windy here today. But he did already juice probably 50 pounds, maybe even more. 300 pounds or more this year because I am totally out. And it really depends on what I want to do for the year. If I want to do a lot of juice, if I want to can a lot of sauce. All right, I have Cole here and he is going to answer our question here for us today. First off, I guess I have to ask you, do you like cranberries? You do? Okay, good. Then that was the right answer. What's your favorite way to eat cranberries?
Probably either cranberry juice or craisins, like cranberry bread.
Okay, you like that too? Have you ever fallen in?
Yep, I have. A couple days ago on Friday. It was an experience, so I think it's, I guess, something you need to do if you work at a cranberry marsh at least once.
I've got Rick here now, and we have 2 questions. The first one is, do you like cranberries? And if so, what do you like to eat them in?
I do like cranberries. I love like a fresh cranberry relish. I think that's really good. And some really good friends, becoming really good friends named Brockmans, introduced cranberries into caramel. And that is really good dipped in there fresh. So I like the antioxidants and all the superfood values of them. But and my friend Joe over here, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe and Rick are good friends.
Yes.
We have somebody that's wondering about falling in and what that's all about and how often it happens.
It can vary by the day. Sometimes you cannot fall in at all, and sometimes you can fall in 4 times a day. And it can be up from between your waist up to your chest. On a warm day, it doesn't feel so bad. On a cold day, it might not be so good.
And you're talking from experience.
Yes, I am. And this is my first year helping.
All right, thanks. So I've got Liam here now, and he's going to answer the same questions. So do you like cranberries, Liam?
Yes, I do.
And do you have a favorite way of eating them?
No, not in particular.
I had a question from a subscriber and they're wondering, does anybody ever fall in to all of this water?
Oh yeah, lots of people fall in. I fell in, but only my right leg got wet, so it was only like a half fall in. But lots of other people, they fall in and they're totally soaked.
I've got Joe with me here now, and Joe, I'm wondering if you like cranberries.
Yeah, well, drinking the water.
You like to drink it with water?
Yeah, well, I thought about pump
And Joe, have you ever fallen in? Have you ever fallen in this water out here?
yeah,
When did that happen?
well, I don't know. Tell Dad. Well, about pushing a boom.
I've got Maria here and I'm putting her on the spot for question number 10.
How many cranberry harvests do you have a year? Like 2? Right? Because there's early harvest and then late harvest? Or like normal harvest?
Sure, we could say it like that. We do split up our harvest, but
Yeah.
Each cranberry bed is only harvested once a year. So
Yeah.
you get a crop off of it only one time of a year.
So
And-
once.
Right, once. And then the cranberries go dormant. The cranberry vines go dormant for the winter. They're flooded for the winter and encased in ice until
To
spring.
protect them.
Another one that I can totally answer is there's a question about what are other ways to use cranberries besides dried, sauce, and juice. So, of course, whole fresh cranberries can be used in cranberry bread, cranberry muffins. You can even cranberry bars with cream cheese frosting.
Yeah.
You can chop up cranberries, add them to pancake batter. That is one of Warren's favorites.
You can just eat them fresh out of the bed. You can do that.
You can do that if you're up for the special,
Sourness.
yeah, the super tartness that they offer, right?
You can dip them in
You can
caramel.
dip them in caramel. Another thing is, if you like that sweet and savory kind of thing, you can throw a couple handfuls in when you make a pork roast. If you're making chicken in the crock pot or in the oven, you could put some cranberries in like that. You could string cranberries and use them as a decoration, a garland. You can float cranberries in a bowl with a floating white candle and a couple little sprigs of rosemary or evergreen. That is so pretty at Christmas time.
Almost anything you can think of, you could probably use them. The next question is, do you keep some of the cranberries or sell them all? We definitely keep them to make different desserts and just
Juice and sauce.
to
But-
make things, and we do sell most of them.
Most of them get sold via semi-load, and then we do sell some for
by the
fresh
pound.
by the pound.
To people.
Yeah, just to people who call up and wonder if we have cranberries for sale, and so I do sell them like that too. All right, you got your A game on?
No.
Because we got the first question up.
Okay.
It's a big one.
Oh boy.
Where did I just
Big
put it? It's right
Big
here.
one,
Are you
huh?
ready?
You want me right here?
Sure.
Okay.
Would love for Warren to talk about what's all involved in raising cranberries.
Everything.
That's a huge question.
I was going to say, can you sum it up in a sentence?
Well, there's a saying that says a cranberry grower needs an empty head and a magnifying glass, because as you grow cranberries, you will fill your head full of all the knowledge needed to grow cranberries, and you need a magnifying glass to find where the money went. And that's pretty accurate. I mean, cranberries are like anything else. You have good years, you have bad years. Good crops, bad crops, good markets, bad markets. It's just like any other farming, ups and downs. I can't sum up growing cranberries in a short answer. I mean, it is hands-on year-round.
Yeah.
There is no way. There are things that there are not machines built to do the work. There's a lot of hand labor. You have to love it, because if you didn't love it, you would quit. You know, it kind of gets in your blood after a while, and it becomes a part of who you are, and yeah, that's, I can't imagine doing anything else. You would have to look at some of the past videos, you know, with sanding and planting. You know, it's a perennial, so you only plant it once, and once it's in the ground, you have to take care of it in the winter and in the spring and in the summer and in the fall. There's no like off season. There's after harvest, where they don't need quite as much as they do during the growing season, but you still can't walk away from them. But there's just a lot. You have to protect for frost through the use of irrigation. You have a myriad of bugs that attack cranberries that you have to control. You have to fertilize at the proper time. If you just dump fertilizer out there, you can grow vines. It's easy to grow vines. It's hard to grow a good crop. There's a finesse to it that takes time to develop. I guess that's the best way I can answer it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And that actually answered another one of the questions about if you have to plant every year, and
awesome.
you answered
Knocked
that.
out 2 of them.
2 in 1. And so then we have another question about how many beds of cranberries can you do in one day? Is it according to how big the bed is?
Yeah, you mean as far as harvest?
Yes. How many beds of cranberries can you do in one day?
Okay, well, it really depends on the size of the bed. Our biggest bed is 5 acres. We have a couple 5-acre beds. We can do a whole 5-acre bed in a day, because once you set up, you can just load semis, load semis, load semis, and pick up 5 acres in a day. But we have a lot of smaller beds. Our smallest bed is 1.5 acres. Well, you can pick up 1.5 acres in a short amount of time, but then you have to move all the equipment. And that moving, on those days, you may do 3 little beds in a day, but there's a lot of moving, a lot of what I call wasted time. It's not wasted, but I mean, you're not loading because you're moving equipment.
Somebody asked about a PTO, and what is a PTO?
A PTO is a powered takeoff. There's a PTO shaft right here, which that's basically how tractors will power implements that they have on the back. See, this spins. It's basically part of the transmission, and you can engage it and disengage it and power different implements on the back of a tractor.
So what would you power?
Well, on this one, I don't use the PTO at all, because, but our water pump that we've been pumping with, that runs off a PTO. My ditch bank mower, my top dike mower, all run off PTO. My sprayer runs off of a PTO shaft. Basically anything that goes on the back of a tractor, except a harrow rake. A harrow rake is just spring power.
All right, so let's talk about that. I had a question, and someone was asking, don't the tires squash the cranberries when you're driving through the cranberry bed?
They do not, because this front rake actually plucks 90% of the berries off. See, they're offset. So as this goes through, this will remove 90% of the crop before the tires even get to it. And then the rear rake gets the other 10%. The only time I squash berries with the tires, and you can see them in here, is when I'm climbing in and out of the bed and you have the rakes up and you're climbing out of the water. Then if there's some fruit there, you try very hard to brush the fruit away, but you run over a couple berries. In the big picture, it's not a lot, but as a grower, I don't like to see it. Selfie mode, all right.
Yep, selfie mode.
There,
all right.
maybe if I sit and you stand.
And me stand, okay. So the next question here, it says, is there a part of harvest that you or Warren find to be the most stressful?
All of it. Just saying, all of it. Very stressful.
Yeah, and for me, the most stressful part of harvest is seeing him stressed.
Well, the problem with harvest is the sleep deprivation, because the last 3 nights it's been in the 20s, so I've had to irrigate to protect for frost. So you're up at night working, and then you're working all day long, and you know, I don't.
Usually you're taking trucks in, semi-loads in the evening.
Right. So I hire friends and relatives and kids for harvest help, but then I put a lot of the harvest rolls on myself. I do about half the pipe pulling myself. I do all the raking, I do all the trucking, all the flooding, and I help set up the berry cleaner at each bed. My crew loads the semis with the berry cleaner, and part of my crew do the booming. The crew does probably half the pipe on the marsh. And so I put a lot on myself because, and here's the other reason, I want it done a certain way, and I want it done my way. So part of it,
and the only person that can do it my way is me, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, it can definitely get stressful, and like I said, for me the most stressful part is seeing him stressed.
And I think the hardest part for me is the sleep deprivation, because then it flavors your mood every day, and you got to try to put a smile on your face because you're dealing with crew that you're depending on, and cameras. All
right, the next one, still part of that same question though. It says, is there something like coming home with the empty trucks that signals you can finally relax?
Not during harvest, because you get home with an empty truck and you have to go move water around. You got to keep an eye on the temperature because you got to get your irrigation started. The most incredible feeling during harvest is when you're driving home with the last empty truck. And it's kind of a feeling, I always say it's a cross between the last day of school and Christmas mixed together.
Yeah, and I would say that for me, when I see him drive away with the last semi-trailer full, I know that, whew, that part is done. I mean, there's always work to be done. There's always something that still has to happen to wrap up harvest.
Yeah, you don't have the, after that last semi goes in, you don't have the pressure of the crop and the risk of losing the crop hanging over your head. You know that you've done what you can do. Exactly. Yep. Everything that you can do for that year has been accomplished.
And then just like for everybody else, I'm asking these 2 questions because people are wondering. Obviously, do you like cranberries?
Oh yeah.
There's only one right answer. Yes. And then what's your favorite way to consume cranberries?
Actually, my favorite way, this is hard because I like a lot of different ways. Cranberry cake is awesome. Strained cranberry sauce is awesome. But in the last couple years, my most favorite way to enjoy cranberries is in my steamer juicer, and I juice them down to 100% zero sugar, straight cranberry juice. And it's an acquired taste because it's like drinking whiskey without the alcohol, but it is good. You get to where you really enjoy it. And it's got all the health benefits available. So that's my favorite.
And I've gotten a lot of people onto that. Actually, a lady who just bought 100 pounds. Last year she bought 50 pounds. She juiced all the cranberries. This year, 100 pounds, because she's like, that was so good. They actually, again, they do it too, just like you do, no sugar, but they also do the same with grapes. And then they mix a quart of cranberry juice with a quart of grape juice. And she said that's their favorite thing all throughout the year.
Yeah, I just like it straight.
Yeah, and I can just see also, like by my Amazon analytics, I do see that people buy the steamer juicer. So
yeah, maybe it's a great way to make juice. It's not that hard, and finished product is great.
It is
if you follow the directions.
Yeah, you do it. Follow the directions, and not let it.
Don't let it run out of water.
That's just what I was going to say.
If you boil all the water away, that is not good.
That's never a good thing. And then the other question is about falling in. How many times have you fallen in? Tell us about the experience.
I can't count how many times I've fallen in.
How about this year?
This year I haven't fallen in once.
but I have made it whole harvests without falling in. But usually you're in a hurry and you're just not paying attention and you forget which bed you're on and you step right into a ditch, and yeah.
And then that's it.
It's cold.
Then you're up to the house changing clothes.
Change clothes. I always tell my crew, bring a change of clothes. Not that it's going to rain, but you're probably going to fall in. We had one fellow in our crew that fell in 3 times in one day.
Okay, it's really cold out here, guys. And Maria and I are out of breath. Are you out of breath? I'm out of breath. We were just speed walking here, trying to make some heat. So this next question, somebody asked about if we have a compost pile for all of the leaf trash. And honestly, we don't use it as compost, but we do compost it down. Now, one thing about cranberries is that they're very acidic. Their leaves are also very acidic, and so this would not really make, it just doesn't make a compost that we need in our soil, because we naturally have acidic soil where we live. So anyway, this is where they bring the piles. We actually have 3 of these spots on our property, and they just bring the trailers full of trash here. And you can see, this is what I mean by trash. It's leaves, some grass, every once in a while a cranberry. That one actually has got kind of a little mushy spot on it. Yeah, so that's what it is. And they just bring it here and it just composts down. Every now and then you'll see a deer come in, and especially like maybe in the winter when they're hungry and there isn't a whole lot of other goodness to eat, they might come in and paw through the snow and see if they can find a cranberry to eat. That's the answer. There it is. Compost pile. Now we are pretty much as far away from home as we can be, aren't we? So we are gonna walk home, try to get and try to make some heat. Let's go. Someone is wondering if you have to deliver the cranberries on the day that they're harvested.
You don't have to, but you really want the fruit to the receiving station as quickly as you can. Typically, it's within the day of harvest, at most the next day, because you want that fruit to get binned and frozen as fast as possible so that your quality stays. So typically within 24 hours it's in a bin and headed for the freezer.
How far away do you have to haul them?
It's like 16 miles one way. I think that's right. 16 or 18 miles one way.
Okay, so round trip usually takes you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour.
Yep.
Is usually about the timing that you get back.
By the time you get there, you unhook, you load onto an you grab onto an empty and get home. You got an hour in it. Wondering why I did that? Because you don't want to not be connected, because bad things will happen.
He is on a mission to deliver the last truckload of fruit.
Last load for this year.
You don't have to back up like you're scared of the camera. Maybe. Gonna say you better maybe move over that way. I thought, yeah, you guys need to be close. I thought I was gonna see if there was any memorable moments. Anybody got a memorable moment they want to share?
None I want to share.
Okay.
We got a raise today.
Oh yeah.
$100,000.
Well, look at that. You guys are lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Things have wrapped up. And I missed these two the other day asking the questions. So there were a couple questions. Wait, did I ask you? No, I didn't ask. So we have Autumn here and Nick. And there was a question regarding falling in. Anybody fall in?
That'd be a great question for Autumn.
I've fallen in a couple times.
Expand on that at all?
The one time I missed the dish by like a foot, and the other time I needed to cool down, apparently.
Oh, it was a hot day.
No, it was a cold day.
I haven't fallen in years.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep the streak going.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good streak to keep going. And then another question was how you like to eat or consume cranberries.
Probably cranberry juice or cranberry wine. Cranberry wine, that'd probably be the best. Yeah.
Yep.
I like cranberry juice, but cranberry bread pudding was really good too the other day, so.
Is that what your dad made?
Yeah.
That'd be the third best.
That's good.
Juice.
And Peter, did I get you?
My favorite way is like cranberries and caramel. Cranberry juice. And cranberry bread.
Cran apple applesauce.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Right up at the top as well.
I only have one jar of that left. Oh, Warren's got something.
I got nothing.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
glad we're done. I'm tired. I've had enough. Glad to be done.
Glad to be.
And with that, I guess that'll wrap up the Cranberry Harvest Q&A. Yay! Yay!